I've got the microphone on.
45 seconds.
I'm not sure if the phone's off what, I had my phone.
Not yet.
The live stream is live with sound.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, it's 3 p.m. on Tuesday, August 4th. We'll call this City Council special meeting to order. Do a roll call, please.
Shana Martinez, District 1.
Over Shift District 4.
Houston Marchman, District 2.
Valerie Solis, District 5.
Bruce Alexander, Mayor, Ms. Schreiner from District 3 is absent. Citizen comments. City Council will hear comments from any citizen or visitor. Speakers must address their comments to the presiding officer rather than individual council members or staff. Stand at the podium, speak clearly in the microphone, and state your name, residential address before speaking. Speakers will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes for testimony. In accordance with the state open meeting act, City Council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Actions can only be taken at a future meeting. So you want to like make citizen comments? Okay, like I always do, I ask a second time, do you want to make citizen comments? Okay, now let's move on. Item 4 is discussion and action item. Presentation and discussion only on mayor's proposed FY 26-27 budget for general fund, enterprise fund, and airport fund. These are discussions only, no action can be taken in a workshop setting. All right, let me just start by saying that I have a bunch of things, and Patty just got back today and she's working crazy on it, and I'm driving Leroy crazy that they haven't had a chance to get all the information. They lost the data and they're trying to meet them, and they're working on it. Patty's doing great with it, but hasn't got it all done. But I will tell you because a few things. Thank you, everyone, to council and to Leroy and all the staff members that participated in some of our workshops. Okay, for them it was a process that previous administrator prepared a budget. We went through each one with myself, department heads with him, and then kind of caught them off guard and said, now we're going to do them with council change members. So everybody got to hear them. A lot of questions, a lot of comments, a lot of thoughts. I took all of that myself and I changed a lot of numbers. And those numbers you are going to have them before the end of the week, the next day or so. They'll always give it to you, I'll send to you. So you can, with March, you see what I changed. Basically, I took every one of the budgets and turned it into an O&M budget. It's important that I say that. I took it and made it an O&M budget. And I took out a lot that I believe were added things that should be pushed to a CIP. And we'll have that discussion, and that'll be a different level. So for example, vehicles, I took them all out of an O&M budget because they're either going to be a CIP or we're working with the chief to do the enterprise thing, and we can back things back in. Okay. Utilities, for example, and I have a hard time with this, and I've had a hard time from the beginning, so I took out what I see as some type of duplicate budgets. For example, we might have $100,000 for the next stop. Yet over here on explanation, we have another $100,000 for system maintenance, which includes fixing water leaks and equipment, whatever. Well, we're paying for equipment and equipment. We're paying for people and payroll. We're paying for the materials in next stop. So what's that extra $100,000 for? Got it. If they need it for a project or something like that, we can always come back and amend a budget. Bottom line is, I cut $585,000 out of the general fund and $1.8 million out of the utility fund, and added $106,000 to the airport fund. You'll see those numbers when we get them when we do them. So let me explain to the airport why it's added. Number one is we're going to a full-time. That changed. The $6,000 for the admin services is, been doing it for 30 years. We know that's not fair. So it's not poking, it's not taking advantage, it's just being a little more equitable in what the costs truly are. It doesn't hurt anything because there's a lot of revenues there. It's not that I'm taking it because of revenues, it's just, I think the airport's in probably a better position than ever have been. It's important that I tell you about these numbers that are cutting, because without these numbers, there's a originally budgeted like a $600,000 deficit in the general fund. You either have to come up with cuts on that, or you have to pull money which you won't pull out of reserve accounts, or you're looking at tax increases. And one thing that I believe, and we're pretty clear on, unless you guys say otherwise, I told Leroy we had this talk again today, there'll be no tax rate increase. Actually, more than likely, overall tax rate will more than likely even come down. And the reason I'm saying that because we're waiting for the numbers from the county, but we have a certain amount that's debt service and a certain amount that's O&M, but you have no new revenue tax rate. We want the same revenue you had before. As you add more to the tax rolls, that drives your rate down. And so if you want, and then any increases are based on that. No new revenue, no do this, and no do that. The last 4 years, and it's all in how you look at it, all in how the terms are, we're keeping the tax rate flat for the 4 years. We're actually tax increases each year. Because what used to be called effective rate lowered that, but by keeping it the same, it was actually an increase. Okay. I'm trying to do a budget where we don't do that. Same thing on utility rate increases. Hold the line on those and be able to put more towards capital improvements. In doing that and some of that, I believe, you guys have heard me say this before, I believe that we need to focus doing more in-house work. We can't do it all, but we can do some. But we need to do some more in a timely manner, working together with different folks. The streets, I'm just totally floored with the way we do that. I don't think, honestly, I'm trying to be as positive as I can. That's been a big disappointment to me over the last year. It's easy to say I need more people. It's easy to say I need equipment. But the council says rent the equipment. Well, do it. So I have a problem with that. So I gave you guys a memo with some of my thoughts, so we'll outline what I believe and where I'm making these cuts and where they are. And also where I propose some realignments in the way things get done. And get back on that. I'm not trying to argue with anyone, I'm just trying to manage through this. The last 5 years, the city has issued a debt service every year just to have a debt service. So we found this out this spring, we have a lot of cash reserves set in the bank waiting for projects. Even we signed some projects, but we're still waiting for them to want. I talked to John just a little bit ago, I said, please have some updates on some of these because we're going to have a CIP on the 25th. And one of the things I would like to do on that is, number one is, where are we at on all these projects? Status updates, what's up, where we at, and then, because those are commitments for funds, and then moving forward from there. Other things I'm working with Leroy, I'm not saying the city has an unlimited supply of money, but we're going to do next week a bank depository. So the city is financially stable and needs to be, in my opinion, it needs to be more investments back into that. back into our stuff. It's, for, on a personal note, I want those bank accounts as big as I can. When on the government funding, it's not our money. We need to put it to work. We need to put it to work for what the best bang for our buck. And sometimes that's not true. For example, I'm not going to be the street work that's being done right now. That's a $400,000 project that we all, the city approved. Got it, I understand it. I don't know how many blocks it is, what is it, about 30 blocks, 20 blocks? About 20, okay? But last week, a number that we've been waiting for a year, the county commissioner proudly steps up and says, I paved everything 24 foot wide and I can pave a mile for $28,000.
That's paving or?
Seal coat. One part seal coat, which is, most of these streets, you dress them up, that's what you need, that's what we have. Even if you only use 100 blocks, and you use the other 200,000 for manpower to clean it up, you can do 100 blocks versus 30 with full contract. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm just saying there's other ways to look at things, but in the defense of public works and everything, we waited for that number for probably a year.
And now we gotta figure out how to request and
How to work through that. I'm not saying it can be done, and it's kind of an eye-opening number, and whether it's valid or not, those are words straight out of the commission. So it's interesting when you hear that. So in some respects, we might be able to get more bang for our buck. For example, you read in that where I have in there where some there's sort of position changes because I understand what everybody's doing, but I also understand that in some respects the city might be heavy on some things. So in duplicating things, I'm not talking about you. You guys don't have enough. Oh, by the way, if y'all didn't know, they had an operation that went really well last week. So I'll just leave it at that. Okay. So
that's all we're gonna do.
on that one, well, I'll say we had one with one of our federal partners. They had an operation that the state law requires their participation and it went very well. Can I leave it at that? Okay. Okay. So we go from there. I can go through all of this stuff and tell you where the numbers have changed, or I can get this, which they're going to highlight the numbers that changed, and then we can go over that. I will tell you that Deborah pointed it out, the attorney pointed it out, and I found out on my own that I was in error, that the city council does not approve per se action to a proposed budget, but yet we're required to provide a proposed. The budget officer, which is the mayor, is required to provide a proposed budget to the city secretary 30 days before we adopt it. Okay, so I got to give that to her in a couple of weeks.
And that's for the public to review if they
That's
wish.
for the notice to have public hearings and whatever. Now, that's not the final budget. That's just a proposed budget, which is interesting because my thought was council approve a proposed budget, and then we go through all that hash mark and then we do the final. That's not the way it works. So I did correct. So, but I don't want to do it without you guys seeing it. At least give a broad stroke and then we can beat each other up so you generally grow. I don't know where to go from here except to go to items. Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say, I think, is it the 11th that you're gonna go back over it and they'll have time to have seen the changes?
We're
Correct?
going to do it next Tuesday. We're going to have a budget workshop again.
At 3
We're going
o'clock?
to get all of these changes that I proposed in these forms with different colors. So to see where they dropped or where they, in rare cases, some of them went up. Okay? So you'll see that. You'll see that where, the proposal of salary changes, the proposal of personnel changes, and go from there. Next week, we're gonna talk about the personnel policies and job descriptions. Oh, boy. Okay,
And that's posted for Monday.
and that's for Monday. So we're working right now through the attorney. We're unable, we know the job descriptions will do HR approval to an attorney. We're working to try to get, to see if the actual policy would do it. We're unable to find one that did, so we've got to call it to the attorney to see if the HR, if that one do it, because those are big things to bring to you legally. Doesn't bind you to it, you still change what you want.
You'll have the job descriptions also on Friday that will go ahead and make a copy for you and put the links out and you'll, I guess you want to show the red line and the actual clean copy, or you want to write a clean copy?
We'll talk.
Okay.
The thing on the job description, so I just want to point out, and it's no problem, the draft ones that were presented, the HR attorney had to go buy extra ready. And then, that's being voiced sarcastic. See, there is a lot of changes for that. And some of the changes that I had talked previously with the administrator was some of the job requirements, for example. And, some folks did really good about putting the requirements, some folks did not. And then when it comes down to, the hot subject of certificate pay, and how that works, and how that compensation is, understanding that I know what was approved by the previous administrator, but he didn't have the authority to do that. The city still paying is not in accordance with the ordinance. So that's something we really need to look at, how we address that. For example, a manager's role in water or wastewater requires a B license. They have A's, right? But in my opinion, certificate pay should only be for a step up, shouldn't go back to Title IV. Should only be above and beyond what the new requirements. So it's gonna make some changes, it's probably gonna rattle some cages, but it's just, I'm making that suggestions on things. Chief, for example, when you have, officers at different levels, whatever's in the job description, that's what the requirements of the job are. And you need to adjust those pages on pay if you need to, but not do other things, in my opinion. I gave you guys a memo with some of that stuff. I gave you the idea. I was hoping to give you the numbers to go with that, but I don't have those yet. Yeah, but go ahead.
You said that next week to think depository.
That's on the council chambers. Council.
The regular meeting.
We're going to be on the agenda for next week, which Dennis is going to post this afternoon. I don't even know where I have it.
You'll be selecting the bank depository and the auditor contract.
Yeah,
Well, we have a balance in the bank state, right?
well, there's different accounts and different things and different funds, and we went through this before as far as there's restricted funds, there's non-restricted funds, there's still some, as we found out, there's still some bond monies that are different bonds, we're still working on some of them to get freed up and just not spend funds on some other things.
It's just my frustration because I was asking for a total number for a year that I couldn't get or never got. And I'm curious, as we move forward, are we really gonna know where we are?
We
Balance of funds, because
we will.
we never got that.
Well, we got a lot, but I don't know where everything is. We're working on it. Leroy's sharing with you. We have other things too that that I've asked questions. For example, and I don't know if there's an agreement. That's another agreement. you may know, the Berry House. We have an agreement with the Castroville, colonies folks. I read it with you, but I don't know, maybe it's here, maybe whatever. But, that building that's on that property, the city owns the property. But the city, my understanding, there's a
Lease agreement.
lease agreement that basically hands them the keys to the property. But we still own it, and we have to maintain insurance on it, and we have to maintain utility bills, and we have to maintain certain things. And then pretty much, we own it in name only.
Can we sell it?
We're not
No.
going to.
No.
It was
We're not
donated.
going to.
I'm kidding.
But, so I don't know what the agreement says, because I know, Mr. King will be coming here probably at the end of the month and give an annual report on it. I just want to have all that information, because, it's kind of like other things the city has and works with. Does the city have any say on what happens? And if so, or did the city just, like I said, turn over the keys?
Yeah, you signed that agreement last.
No, I'm not here to go that.
Oh, they've had it for years.
Or we
It's
get
not
to,
new.
or we get to the community building down in Park, that, I don't know if they poured the the sidewalks. They had another guest last week, but I think the latest now on that one is probably mid-August, but we're putting out the bids for the park, they start on downtown, start of thing. But by the time that all gets done, the city's gonna have almost $1 million in that project, on top of the other one that we got. So and then, we're still chasing the maintenance of this building. Because maybe there's some misunderstandings on what council said to do, the windows and the doors. And we work on everything else, so, I don't know, I'm not here to argue anything, I'm just saying that I'm looking at you because you've been here longer, but I'm looking at you too. You is sometimes I can see the frustrations when things don't happen the way we believe they should happen. And so it gets your attention. And some of the budget stuff I've put thoughts in, I guess, that
So speaking of the budget, so the $600K deficit, that is based on the projected budget, correct, what we went through round robin? Okay.
That's based off the preliminary revenue that we had at our first budget workshop.
Mm-hmm.
That was without having our final certified values that we just got last week.
Okay.
Right now, the tax office is running the truth and taxation calculation that will come back and provide us the breakdown of the tax rate and so forth.
Okay, so then that 600K deficit could change?
Yes.
Okay.
We're in.
Okay. And then number 2, based off your memo there, I see there's some leaning with departments in restructuring of personnel. Is there an opportunity to align what we get on Friday with the third-party contract services that we have, that the budget spoke to, as far as like the janitorial services and all of that stuff, to see whether or not there's opportunity to cut costs in some of those areas as well?
yes, ma'am.
Before we deep dive into some of these aspects.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Look, what I gave you in a written memo there was just me putting in paper what my thoughts are. The final decision of the budget rests with city council. So if you support those, thank you. If you don't, thank you too, because it's represent what you believe is the best. It's not personal, it's business. Okay, you can say that for whatever it's worth.
No, I agree, and it's not necessarily right or wrong, it's just that for me, in order to make a valid decision, just like to see just the bigger picture, that was it.
That's why I was hoping, and it's my fault.
It is,
But
it's
I
all
didn't-
you want
I
to
didn't
take it,
hear-
take it.
I I didn't get him to Leroy in time, I should have got him, you know, I did aggravated because Patty took a week off on vacation and she's not supposed to take off. So, that's a joke. So, trying to get those numbers then, and I handed them to him this morning, at 6:30 this morning, or 6:45 this morning, and he just looked at me and said, you want this win? I said, well, I get done by 2:00.
But you'll definitely have it all on Friday,
So-
printed out for you to.
You can take that information, you can take what I wrote, you can come up with your own conclusion, I don't care. Call me if you want to talk about it, I'm fine. And then when we come back, the intent is, the goal, is to come back Tuesday and kind of help guide me toward, we can't make a decision, but help guide it towards a proposed budget that we can get to her. And then that gets out and published, and then we set up a public hearing, and then it won't be finalized till September
25th is when.
is when it will be finalized. So even though you have a proposed one, even though you have a public hearing, everything's subject to change up until the 25th. So that's what I thought, I said, okay, well, it's proposed, then let me just give a proposed one to her, council could figure it out later. I don't wanna do that. So,
By law, I need to give it to her for mayor by the
21st.
21st.
by the 21st this month, we have
Of this month.
I have,
Say proposed,
she has to be handed the proposal.
which can still be changed up until the 22nd.
What's really interesting is, and maybe Sheeta, maybe you know, last year, I thought we were going to get changes, but we didn't. So, yeah, it is what it is. Let me go from there. The biggest part of the 600,000, I'll tell you right up front, $250,000 for streets, I believe that's a CIP. Took it out of an operations budget.
And that's what we had approved of, for CIP.
$75,000 for the out of control, the chief get a truck, I took that out of an operation and put it in the CIP. So there's over half of it right there, just 2 ticket items. Okay, we talked here, quickly with the park, we talked about some of the improvements in some of the downtown, we talked about those capital improvement projects, well, I pulled them out. Okay, so there's, $75,000 in park improvements, pull them out, put them in CIP. Not to say we won't do them, but I wanted to get back to an operations and maintenance budget. That was where I made a lot of these moves. And also understanding and realizing that as the year goes, hey, they get, I use the water, for example, they get something, they need that, it's not that big a deal, make it less of a thing.
I have a question,
Yes, ma'am.
and I know I'll probably get you haggard for this
No, you're not going to,
one. Like with Acorn vehicles. Are
okay.
we gonna relook at that, and that way we can reduce down some fuel costs or something like that?
That's something we're going to talk about, but, we will, that will be an item on Monday when we talk
Okay,
about
policies.
that, because, there's things in the policy that, for that purpose, as far as administrator approved, things like that, we have, I have an opinion that I believe that this does not apply to the police department, by the way, when I make this comment. It doesn't provide to, it doesn't apply to the chief or the officers, because I believe they're really available all the time, from the time you get the key. But on every other vehicle, I believe that, I don't have a problem with people on call that are within our jurisdiction. I don't believe that they should leave our jurisdiction. Okay, that's.
Do we define that? Or jurisdiction?
City limits,
City.
water and sewer CCN, you wanna use Canada, that's our jurisdiction. Our service area.
Because after what occurred with the truck and everything, I've had so many people come up to me and, well, who's paying for the fuel? And, oh, and it's like.
I understand, but those Those are not spelled out in the budget, but they're directed in personnel policies.
Okay, cause I know what we saw the lines for fuel.
Right, I didn't mess with those at all.
Okay.
On a lot of that stuff I did, I went more after, let's say, the big tickets.
Okay.
I also turned and I asked for this last year, so now I get to write the budget. But I pulled all the special activity funds under
I
administration,
saw that,
pulled them all
I saw that.
and put them under administration. So basically, if you want a special activity to use those funds, you need to do the administration to access those funds. And I did that for all departments. It's not that big a deal, it's just checks and balances.
Right.
It's kind of like I'll focus on one, without going into great detail, I'll focus on one personnel thing. And I thought I kind of led down that path the other day at council meeting. The city has 4 officers. The administrator, the city secretary, chief of police, and director of public works. City administrator is the first among equals, basically has the administrative authority over all of them. However, everybody else reports to one of those 4, everyone. Okay, and what I proposed, for example, like the parks. I didn't change anything, to propose anything, the police department, they're great, don't code enforcement, whatever. But like the parks, I put them under public works.
Well, that's where they were before.
Because I believe that's where they should be, so the administrator can focus on community and economic development of the city. And have the whole thing, and the airport,
Right.
and have that, that's just my opinion of it should be. So the question is, for example, like the parks, doesn't change their duties, it just changes who the report is.
Right.
That's it, just that simple. But it listed under different levels of responsibility. That's what I was trying to do with that, is just trying to put everybody classed under one of the officers.
Okay. And, I saw that you, regarding the person for doing processing, for building permits, so that would be separated from Brianna?
No, same building,
Same
but
building.
same building, just reassign me, it's just a suggestion on
Okay,
that,
yeah, I'm
on some of those.
just need clarification.
You said it used to be that way.
No, on what?
Well, yeah, before
Many years ago.
Many years ago, public
works,
works, literally,
parks,
the PD had animal control.
correct,
The library, municipal court
Yep.
were,
The airport.
basically city secretary, the airport was over here by itself.
Yeah.
Finance stuff was under that,
streets,
but,
parks, everything
but
else,
streets, parks, all the utilities, code enforcement, building permits, all of that was under public
of
works,
course.
all of it.
The library, since I've been here, has never been under city secretary. I have had,
Well, it was
I-
before you,
yeah, because I've
It was
I've
before.
had the court for a short time,
it was
but
before,
not the library, because I'm
Okay.
looking at it now going, what?
remember I can go back.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't really change, it just changes, it just reassigning reports.
Yeah.
Where they're told. Who's the responsible party, because on a council level, the 4 officers are responsible for everything, with the administrator having ultimate authority over it. Okay?
Okay.
Got it. So, you got another question, or you wanna wait for the numbers?
Oh, I'm gonna wait.
Huh?
I'm gonna wait.
I figured you would, I apologize again for not having those numbers. I really don't, and I really, once you get them, I'd like to sit down and talk to y'all, if y'all want, we'll hold it till Tuesday, but please ask, because if you don't ask me, or you don't challenge the numbers you're gonna get are the numbers I'm gonna propose to.
One question,
So please,
the, money to be paid to the airport for the use of the baseball fields, have we figured that out yet?
honestly, I don't know if we know anything, because I don't know if we do, because it's a work in progress. So I don't know if we do all. That $38,000 you're talking about, I don't know if we do one, but if we do, we do, so I don't know. That's what they said the appraisal was, okay? But, I don't know.
Where is that being worked? Where is that being coordinated? What is in the working process with respect to that?
There was a letter sent to FAA asking them to move the properties from aviation use.
And we're still waiting for that.
We're waiting.
Waiting for a response.
For them to say whether or not getting in.
Right.
So then,
Generally speaking, I'm not going to, I don't know, but generally speaking from the people that I'm aware of, at the high level, the highest level of textile aviation, the city is to determine the use of that land, and then they will push it to FAA. Of course, FAA has to find a say, obviously, but the first level is they look for what the city wants to use that land for. And then, as long, then generally speaking, they push that up. So if the city, for example, that's why I say council controls the use of the property. Council has a lot of say in the use of that property. The stuff that's aviation related, fine. The stuff that may be committed based on grant assurances, that's one thing. But if there's areas of that or other areas of the city that are not just the airport, other areas that are not legally bound on the city or within a grant covenant or something like that, the city council determines what happens with it. Okay, so my understanding from my sources at Textile Aviation is, city, you asked us. And we'll go from there. So we have asked them, take that land out of aviation.
Maybe non-aeronautical land.
Non-aeronautical use, but what's significant about that, when it becomes non-aeronautical use, it's not subject to an FAA appraisal for use. You get to determine for non-aviation.
Right, but they still have to.
It has to sort of
pay the airport a small amount.
No, I understand. Last year, my understanding, last year was the first year the airport didn't get paid $8,000 some odd
They
dollars.
didn't get anything.
That's the first time they didn't get it. And that, I believe, should be corrected.
Correct.
That I
Yes.
will support you because it's the first year it wasn't paid and there's no reason why that wasn't.
Correct.
That I believe was an oversight. So I think, I'm being honest.
I know.
So I would support that being done almost right away because there's history on that where it's been being done
Yes,
and then all of a sudden it's cut off.
yes.
So Leroy, can you look into that?
is this a new policy from the FAA?
No.
Oh,
It's
Why did
always
it take
been.
us so long
So,
after
no.
everything?
I'm not gonna set some stones in it.
Yeah,
I wasn't throwing
It's
stones,
just-
I'm just saying, this seems like a simple fix,
It-
if it works.
There's a lot more behind the scenes, but the general purpose, just always understand this, and I don't wanna criticize anybody involved in the airport, I don't wanna criticize the airport board, I don't wanna criticize anyone. I'm just saying that in keeping with what I was talking about the other day, city council determines the fate of the city. Fair?
yeah, no, I'm just making sure we don't fall off the radar like it did last year.
You're absolutely
fair
correct, we
enough.
have to speak on that.
That's what I was.
Okay. We have, a grant, for example, that was approved by the Friends of the Park, which I think is awesome. But the city's now listed as a sponsor on that grant, so it's kind of like, okay, you have to look at what are the covenants and what are the things you have to do in order to get the grant. A grant doesn't always come free, it comes with conditions. I'm like, well, okay, and you gotta make sure the conditions are worth the value. What you don't wanna do, for example, worst case, you don't wanna agree to a several $100,000 planning grant where there's small print says, oh, by the way, you have to build this within the next 5 years. You just don't get that may be, this may be 10 times what it was to get the grant. And it happens. But they're not all like that, but sometimes you just have to be aware of that. We talk to CIP when we had almost what, several $100,000 park grant, we're still waiting. Yeah, we approved it, we approved the match. So there's a lot of things going on with it. I didn't want to go off on that. But yes, ma'am, the airport, you're right, we need to make that right. Nothing else. Chief, I got it, real quick, I want to tell you, Enterprise.
You scared me.
The Enterprise got a hold of me again, and I know I haven't answered, but yes, absolutely, we want to buy a truck through Enterprise. We want to do that. Y'all understand it's a lease purchase program, we talked about that before. Are y'all generally in good thoughts on doing stuff like that? Yeah.
It's like a GSA.
We just need to move forward, okay? You about as confused as to be?
Well, when you do, I have a question. When you do the lease program, I think we had to have a contract with them or interlocal agreement. We're gonna get one?
I'm sure we will.
Okay. And bring it to council?
I'm sure we, well, I'm
Okay,
sure we will.
yeah.
It's gonna be a purchase contract, lease purchase contract.
Yeah. Years ago, we had them.
We used to do them when we did them with, we did them
More than half.
across, capital work, capital leasing, whatever. We're ready. Anything else? Anybody have any other questions? All right, we'll get things on Tuesday. I apologize again for not having the paperwork. It's, Leroy's bad as me.
Ready to get to it.
Should have had it.
I'm kind of stressed that we're going to do stuff like this.
That's right.
It's kind of
We
like,
all stressing out.
yeah, oh, by the way, I just want to remind everybody, because I got asked this by a council person, did everybody turn in their, for city administrator, turn in your reviews? Okay,
I'm missing one, there, nothing missing.
okay, we're still on path, pick the 10, or how many you want, they'll narrow it down, they'll do backgrounds. The 17th and 18th, we're set up for interviews. Well, we're going to try to.
That was 18,
18, 19, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
It was
18,
a
19.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
We're gonna try to set them up for that, that's the goal, but it depends on the availability, most people are not far away. Well, somewhere.
Who's doing the background?
Patty Leroy. Leroy wants to hire somebody.
We're doing professionally, right?
Leroy actually wanted interviews this week, and I pushed him. I said, no, we gotta give you a chance to get here. The first day we'll do 3, the second day we'll do 2. Okay? And they will all be done in executive session. Okay? So we'll come to meeting, we'll call to order, and we'll break for that. Okay? I just want to give you all of that heads up before we're going. Tuesday, Monday, we got at 3 o'clock, we will talk about those job descriptions and personnel policies. We will on Tuesday talk about the budget, Tuesday's council meeting, that, and with any good luck, it'll go about like the last one did. That's the intent. Okay? Thank you, Valerie, for working on the policy and procedures and like that. Have y'all seen her book? Her notebook is like this big.
It's growing.
Okay? And Sheena, you and Tobin, and thanks for your work so far on it. You get a flash drive?
I gave it,
Did
yeah.
your flash
Yeah, I'm
drive?
gonna give her one back. I've got a flash drive, and it's a lot. I didn't want to print it out,
Yeah,
so it's a lot.
well,
We don't need no more.
the one we have, the one they have, the notebook, the ordinance, I know it is, but the ordinance was in '03. And it was amended in '05, but unless there's another ordinance or something like that, I know it's old.
Now, they
We gotta amend the ordinance.
It was upgraded when, Lee McVeigh, he upgraded it by a thumb drive.
Well, Lee McGree signed that one too, but.
Yeah, I think it was after that.
And we're part of the Indiana County.
Yes.
I understand.
But I got that flash drive.
What I'm asking is, Chief, is, just a sticker on this, okay? The 17 one, awesome if it's current, but the only way you stop an ordinance is with an ordinance. And this ordinance approved this thing, 3 and 05. So if it's 17, there would have had to be another ordinance to change that.
It was updated.
Or we have to put it on there to nullify those ordinances. Does that?
Makes sense.
I'm playing this, I want to make sure we follow the right process.
It's all gotta get lined up, and then we gotta go to the county and make sure it's lining up from there all the way out.
Well, Mark Chadwick, I think.
He came to
does
the
a
meeting.
lot-
That's where I got it.
Yeah,
He
does a
came to
lot
the
of stuff,
meeting.
does stuff on it, but I just want to make sure we're all together on the same page and we're working
I get the
together.
ordinance thing. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, that's all I want to make sure.
Yeah, I could have read the Bible quicker than.
Did you read it all?
No.
Well,
No, it's like watching paint dry.
I've read
The
a lot.
Bible and the line's like watching paint.
No, the Bible.
Oh.
This was sitting on my shelf
We
all
good?
this time.
That's why
We're
when I
gonna jump in at 3:45, thank you.
What time did you adjourn this meeting?
3:45.
3:45? Thank you.
Crapping.
Good Lord, man, that is a redwood tree and.
Yeah.
That's about the only binder I have that will stop bullets.
It's been on my shelf for since 22.
I had flashbacks being in the military again. Damn.
They didn't have page numbers though. Cause I wanted to see how many pages it was.
Oh, yeah, no.
I think we
Chief,
should
at
get
least you're not working
We
with
should
me.
get a start.
Fine tonight. You've got some other lovely council.
You know, I was thoroughly happy when I said that right over the release. I said we got back with 0 correction. 0 correction.
Even better.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What happens when you get things reviewed?
Okay. Okay. Appreciate it.
No, I get a lot of you
We're
right
good,
now.
we're
It's
good.
not
I'm
fun.
sorry. They're gonna leave them.
You're
They
gonna.
got a meeting in the morning.
We can put these up.
Okay.
Oh.
So we do have signed up for our second meeting. Submitted paper.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just the policies and stuff like that, and that's been all numbers. So I don't know if I'm gonna still continue to do the on-site.
She's gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I'll check already. Anyone? Are we off? Should ask that.
Yeah. Should never say anything you don't want. Just saying.
Well, we are in council chambers talking to them. We're like, we're a little bit of a presentation on this. I get it. Yeah, I get it. You and I understand the leadership and everything that goes with it, so I'm not gonna actually. No, she does that. Yeah. What do you get to that? Because there's only so much talk on it.
Thank you for the notebook. I'll refill, don't worry. Now, are y'all, and before, you'll pick up your hard copies Monday, will y'all be back Monday?
But it's something that.
We will be back Monday.
Cause you'll need for this meeting, correct? So,
Yes.
cause I'll do the packets.
Yes, thank you.
Right, yes,
But we
okay,
won't be able to get it until like.
okay.
Will it be available, electronically?
Oh, yeah, anytime I do these, it's Friday evening, I post them online. Y'all's hard copy is accurate.
I was talking about the budget.
Oh, you know, I don't,
I'll talk to you, Roy.
the only thing is, each time before we've always done just the agenda and it's not the back on it. I don't know, if they got it electronically, we can figure it out. Leroy, can thank you.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Always
Uh,
really fun.
you know,
That's
I'm not
it.
perfect, but electronic,
That'll give us the opportunity.
Right, no, I
Right,
get
but
you.
we're not gonna be back until Sunday. As it comes out.
Yeah, no, you'll just on Friday, you'll get on.
Okay,
Okay. Have y'all safe, have a safe trip.
Jonas is the mic is on. What is that?
Yeah, the mic's wrong,
Oh,
but everything else is on.
just send me a text. Okay, I'll say okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah.